Welcome to the Archangel Michael's chat. As you can see, I have wings. Next to be the halo, and I'll really surprise you. But I hope I find you well. Oh, it looks like we have Jamie Zach has been in the chat, and so has Fluffy. So I hope I find you well. Thank you for liking. I know it's been a while since I've been on. Hello, Lawrence Peak. As you can see, I have grown wings. Soon I'll get the hook on and fly away in front of you, and you really start to believe then. But this is what everyone wants. The fanfare, the show. They want the hype. They want what you've been imaged in your mind over thousands of years, what you depict the angels to look like. So, when we actually come in front of you, you will not recognize us. That is imagery. It tells you not to follow images in the Bible. And we have nothing but images all throughout history, including statues and buildings and synagogues. They're all images. 10:10 in Toronto. Woohoo. What are you doing in Toronto? That's Canada. Wow. That's something new, Jay. I thought you was always based in America, unless you're traveling around. In fact, it's funny that you should say that. My sister Chloe Roma has actually gone to Toronto to visit her current fiance for 3 days before she travels to California to do an interview down there. She's moving around, doing things. I'm happy for her. And she still finds the time in her busy schedule to drop me a line, to give me a call. More so, I give her encouragement more than anything else. She's an advocate for men, but I advocate for her, if that makes any sense. But she is an advocate nonetheless, and so is Jag. And Archangel Michael must deal with the advocates, either or. And I have both given them the same promise. Whatever past that they have had, now that they know me, they follow the right path that makes it all null and void. And as the Archangel Michael, even though the game is not supposed to be played that way, I can slip them off contracts very easily. But that's another story for another time. I promise to be with Jag until the end, and we will go until the end. That's one thing I know. One thing I know that myself and Auntie Lee will never do is betray Jaguar. We might walk away if we have to. Me and Auntie Lee are that smart, but we don't need to. It is a privilege to do what we are doing. It's an honor to fight for freedom. Remember that. Well, what am I most famous for? The best thing I have online. The Lord's Prayer. I don't hear anyone else talking the Lord's Prayer. A lot of prayers for other people. That's a given. A lot of prayers are given. A lot of hopes are needed. But only through us can God work and can these miracles manifest. Auntie Lee, what a miracle. And as unfortunately, as Dead Bird had said, Auntie Lee has the potential to go further than all of us. And she is. And that proves it. She is on her pilgrimage for God. Justice for Kendrick Johnson. Rap's graveyard, and whatever else she decides to put her mind to. Well, let's get on to my little ditch, the Lord's Prayer. And here we go. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but to deliver us from evil. Hail Mary, full of grace. Amen. And now we have God in the Spartan chat, God in my night, and God in your day. Justice for Kendrick Johnson and all victims out there. Yes, Jay. Not only just your country with black lives. If I begin what happens over here, they probably censor me and cut me down. A whole system of genocide. Yes, that's the thing. I understand the plight of the slavery of the American black man. I really do. But that was over 100 or so years ago now. That slavery was no longer. But the mind thinking is still set. That I understand. That needs to change. It really does. But over here, it wasn't until 1967 when we was even classified as human. Before that, we were classed as flora and fauna. Like it says in the Bible, man can do whatever he wants to the animals and the beasts. And they did that to my family. The great Charles Darwin himself, the one that a lot of schools and everyone goes on the theory of evolution, was partially right. He hated the peacock of all things, because the peacock, he didn't understand about the sexuality within that. That's the one thing he left out of his equation. But the thing is, when he visited Tasmania, in his great travels around the world, or so much a theologian as he was on life, he said, the Aboriginal people, they'll get bred out within 100 years. Well, we're still here 150 odd years after he said that, so, and we're still going strong. We've been accredited, although not fully recognized. We're recognized in this country, but worldwide, really, we don't be recognized in the UN. We have our own flag, but we're not allowed to fly it. It's a bit hard, that. A bit more to go, but Australia has decided it doesn't want to go that way. So we're just stuck with it. And just like in America, this is a funny thing. In Australia, on the streets, if you're an Aboriginal man or an Aboriginal man descent, like myself, the cops will pick on you. They'll go out of their way to pick on you, profile you, pull up next to you in a car, look at you. Oh, yeah, he's an Aboriginal man. Pull behind you, then put the lights on. That's profiling. You're not allowed to do that, but they do. The funny thing is, if you're an African black man in Australia, the cops won't attack you like that. That's very weird. I find black people from other countries, they don't get treated the same as the Aboriginal people. The Aboriginal people get treated like that, like yous do in America. Strange, that. It's very strange. I find that very strange. But that's the way it is. And even in the media, if anything's about the Aboriginal man, they'll quite gladly put that up on the front page. But anything's about the foreign black man, they won't put that up. Especially with the Sudanese and the African mobs, because they got their own little gangs and fights going. And they want to keep that hush-hush. A lot of it's hush-hush. Australia goes out of its way for a lot of cultures, other than the original one. But you have Pauline Hanson, who's partially right in what she says. And I really don't like saying that, because she's a red-headed racist through and through. The moment she started up, she really didn't like the Aboriginal people, and she didn't like the Asian. Now she's bantering on and built up so much power within the Senate. Well, she doesn't like immigration. Some of her immigration policies are right. We need to investigate. But lately she's been asking Albanese and the Labour Party where these billions of dollars have gone into these so-called Aboriginal projects. Well, some of it might have been wasted on nepotism, which is when the family members get other family members in to run an organisation and are not truly qualified. That could be true. But he's neglecting to tell, and there's a lot of people neglecting to tell, and they won't even let her look at the files, because the money that they're talking about, that she's not privy to certain things yet, right? And if she ever gets a bit more power, she might be privy on them. Maybe they might have to tell her to shut her mouth, because those billions of dollars were not wasted. They were taken through the Aboriginal organisation to deal with a very special creature. And through that money, they'll find that America was paid off with those big military jets and those Black Hawk helicopters they loaned us, and those Apaches. The British government, because we're dealing with the Commonwealth, and all the money they've been spending chasing that creature out there and catching its drones over the last 13 years. That's why I can vouch for quite a few billion has gone. People have to be paid to shut their mouth. There's 170 odd elders up there that all have signed off their own culture, which I'm very angry at. They even tried to offer me $4 million out of that, and I said no, not for all the money in the world. There is a price, but they were not willing to pay it. And that price is the entire men of the royal family of England. I get to kneecap them, break their hands, and they have to crawl across 200 meters of broken needles and glass to a pile of all their jewels and gold, right? And when they get there, they get all their teeth kicked out, and the crown of England has to be chopped up into 1,000 pieces and spread throughout that pile. And the first royal member of the family, royal member family member, shits out a brand new crown, then I'll give him what I got. That's the price. Or like my mother said, being Greek, and they like the money, she says a flawless diamond the size of the moon. That's a pretty big price too. Mum, I would enjoy mine better. The first one of them that shits out a brand new reconstituted crown, then I will gladly give up the game. But until that happens, well, they can all fry. There is no price. They'll say everyone's got their price. I've had this in my pocket for over 29 years. The two pieces Satan actually needs to complete the whole game. One more piece. Well, there's 4 pieces actually. There's the 3 stones and Mother Nature's signature, which is life itself. That's 10,000 galaxies long. If you were to read it in space, and it's no longer in space, it's been miniaturized and put inside that creature. That is why it's so strong and is totally immortal, except for one piece, which is the spearhead. Like you see King George spearing his dragon. They've been looking for that spearhead for a very long time. And Satan will drain all the oceans, right? And dig up all the earth to look for it. And that's what he's been doing. Not so much just minerals and draining oceans and dredging oceans. They've been looking for something as well, right? And there's 2 pieces that he needs to find. But I got to him first. God slipped me in as a man. And we slipped it right out from under him. It just happened to be fate. I never had to search for them. I was given them. It just so happened they happened to be the main pieces. A bit of life inside. A full, one about this big, black stone. comes from outer space. As it is dormant, it has the potential to reach out and harvest 3 billion lives just by looking at it from a distance. That's how powerful it is. Especially women being the life givers. This is a piece of pure evil. And the creature inside it is dormant, but its spirit, its soul is not. Its soul still lives. And it will spike out and take people. You crack that open, and man can synthesize things like we do. And you animate that life from beyond the stars. You animate that. Well, that's the end of everything that we know it. All microbial life that is on the earth will be gone. But there is a cure. The second stone, which is the key to heaven. It's actually a black stone, the shape of a key. Fits into a keyhole. Doesn't turn. It's more like a computer chip. Activates the entire grill of heaven. But also inside that is an even smaller microbe from outer space. Proof that life exists beyond the stars is right in my pocket. And I gave the other one to St. Peter himself. I gave it to him. So I could not be caught with all three, and the game would be up. As simple as that. There's a cure inside that. But the last piece, the one that Mother Nature wrote the song of life itself before God inherited the great galaxy, and has the claim over it because he is God. And he's manipulated it to his way, so he can create and can claim as the creator, because he is. That's his right. Is the arrow, is the spearhead. You turn it around, also looks like a shield. Same shape as the Australian emblem, believe it or not. Our shield. It's very funny that. I'll give you a sort of an idea. I cannot show you these things. That would be so terribly, terribly, terribly irresponsible of me. Because just seeing the picture through this, or even a picture on a piece of paper, which I've still got to go to court to get them to get rid of that picture they've got on file in the police station to destroy it. Because they could not even be trusted with the picture. My old people wasn't so much that you would steal our souls. We didn't want pictures taken of us because, like now, you put the picture online and 1,000 different stories can be told about that picture, and none of them the right one. Isn't that the spun out thing? I hope I don't get in trouble with YouTube, because it is basically, it is a proper print. It is a proper print of money. But if I just show you the emblem, and it's even almost the same size. You see how the emblem is like a shield, but you turn it that way, and that shield, if you sharpen it, is a spearhead. And that's about how big it is in my pocket. Funny thing how we got that, the emu and the kangaroo. Those two animals can't naturally walk backwards. So that's why they're there to hold that up, because they can't naturally walk backwards away from that, see? So I can only move forwards to hold it up. And of course, you've got the black swan, which is West Australia's symbol. The first place in the world when they come down the river and they looked, never seen a black swan before until they came to the Derby Yerrigan, which is the Noongar word for Swan River. And that's what they are, Derbals. Swans, black swans. First time humanity had ever seen them was when they come here. And no different than the white swan, just black. Also looks a buck and a blow, yes. Australia, Jay, The word Australia is not from Captain Australia or Mr. Australia or something Australia, you know. It's a word that the Illuminati and Freemasons and Lords that be made up. Because Australia stands for, it's an Egyptian and Latin. See, AU, this is how I spell Australia to you. AU, that's the symbol of gold. ST, right? That's the international symbol of us. That's what you do for a star. You go ST, right? RA, the sun god Ra, right? And Leah, Australia, right? Leah is Latin for land or island, right? So how Australia is spelt, it's how you pronounce it is land under the, it's the land, right? Because the land is the last bit of the word. It's the land that's under the golden star of Ra. So they've got the gold symbol, the star, the Ra before the land. And the parents pronounce it properly in the Illuminati way, or the Freemason way, there is the golden land under the star of Ra. So even in the name it's like that. That's how tricky they are. Very tricky, very tricky. But that's how they came up with the name Australia. And that's exactly what it means. It's the golden land under the star of Ra. We've got these paintings in the north. They're called Bradshaws. There's a searcher or a colonist, someone out there exploring called Bradshaw, come across them. And they're like long drawings on rocks, not like our artwork, more like Egyptian and African artwork. In fact, that is the story of the 3 Egyptian princesses that come here. And they are originally going to go to the eastern states, but their ships crashed into the Kimberleys, and they made their way across. It's funny that same line where the Bradshaws are, you find a whole line of baobab trees. And the story that the old men have of the baobab tree up north, the old Aboriginal men, was that God built this tree. It was so beautiful. The tree was just bursting, telling her, I'm so beautiful. I'm so beautiful. So God comes up, picks it up, turns it around and puts it upside down. So that's why you only got the scraggly little roots at the top of a baobab tree, but underneath it's spread out like the top of a tree. This root system, that's why it gains so much water. The same story is told in the middle of Africa by those ancient men. That's not a coincidence. That's a connection. What they don't tell you is the life of the man before we know now. You've heard of Atlantis. Have you ever heard of the Lemurians? The Lemurians and Atlantis were 2 seafaring nations. Atlantis apparently had some sort of land outside the gates of Hercules. So anywhere in the Atlantic past outside of the Mediterranean. But the Lemurians had their own continent. That continent is underneath the Indian Ocean now. There's slight little islands, remnants of it. Maybe even Madagascar is a remnant of it. It even used to connect up to the Australian coast. But there's quartz underneath the Indian Ocean, and quartz only forms when you've got a continent landmass that's above the ground. And that's the passageway that they used to use. Man originally came from there, went to Africa, went to Australia, because the way our genealogy is, they cannot say that we migrated from Africa and down. That's wrong. It is so wrong. That's so wrong. Our culture tells different. Our culture tells us that we were spirits and then we became flesh. And our culture is far older than anyone else's, regardless of today's science. No, accredited for 65,000 years. They're pulling old Lucy out of Africa there, trying to claim that mankind's a derivative from that. Yet around about the same age group, you've got Lake Mungo Man down here in Australia, who's buried in a full ceremonial fashion. In fact, so much of a truth, is it? A ceremonial fashion. But that's the ceremony right there. On our $1 bill. That's a man getting ceremonially buried, ready to take his divisions like the kangaroo leg into the next life. Yeah. That's spun out. That's it. That's even on their $1 bill. That's the burial ceremony. Aboriginal burial ceremony right there. The oldest one known. That's pretty spun out. Did I see that dollar note there? That's worth about $50, that dollar note. It's not worth $1 no more. It's worth about $50, that one. That's a collector's item. Yes, they don't make the ones, and they used to make $1 and $2 notes, and then they turned to coins and that, of course. Are they doing alleviation? Well, who knows? Who knows what they do? Who knows? But I do know that I'm going to revise the 7 signs that Jesus is coming. Whether it's just down the road, a few months' time, or in a few years' time, yet to be remain. I believe will be after the time of Aquarius, which gives us about 14 years, 12 to 14 years, before that time period actually finishes. And then we go into the next stage. The 7 signs, well, lovelessness. We all know there's lovelessness in the world. We see it every day. We take it on our shoulders and take it to heart. Like my sister Chloe, she'll take too much to heart sometimes and she'll sit there cry because she can't help the world. But that's also another reason, her being an orphan, and that as well. You know, an increase in the supernatural. Things are being stranger. They're more openly about their demon worshipping. All this stuff that we hear about bloodletting and eating children and babies and cannibalism. It's getting more and more. And the spiritualness, not just the demons, but the spiritualness increasing in the Muslims and the Christians and the Jewish. How they're carrying on, how now they're saying this one come from this and that one come from that. It's escalated to a greater alignment, getting higher and higher. Then you've got false Christs like Kendrick Lamar and all that out, wearing the false Christ and the false stuff. Right, I brought the prop from China, chopsticks. Was it all done? Yeah, well, that's it. No, they got the false Christ. No, even 50 Cent. He's still getting paid industry checks, so he's only allowed to say what he's allowed to say. Dr. Abe Frankenstein was best in an interview. Well, there you go. You got number 4, denial that Jesus is coming at all. I was listening to one Muslim guy. He says, oh, Jesus. At the moment, I say, where would Jesus be now? And he said, oh, Jesus, all he would smell is feces because he's a false god and he'd be smeared in shit in hell. That's what they say. That's what they believe, where Jesus is. The Muslim, the devout Muslim. Because like in Christianity, there's different sects of Muslims. Right? There's even different sects of Jews. So which one's the right one? Yeah. You got the environment crisis, so the microplastics in the environment. So much so that we don't even care about it no more. Everyone can go and get their DNA checked. Probably got something inside of us, whether in our intestines or within our flesh, in our bloodstream. Cannot deny that we're not destroying the environment. You know, in our immediate area we might make it clean and clean, but that's only because we built it. We manipulated it, but the environment underneath, the land underneath, is dying. It can only sustain so much, guys, before Mother Nature decides, well, time to do a bit of eradication on my own, fix my own self up. She might just wipe us off. That's what God and Satan have to realize. This is Mother Nature's board they're playing on. And if she decides she gets fed up with us, she'll just close the book. And that's the end of the game. Seriously. Both Satan and God know this. And they're hoping that won't happen before we get our shit to it. You know? So, the gospel around the world, the gospel has been spread around the world. You can go in the middle of the Sahara, the middle of the Australian desert, and they'll know the name of Jesus. Whether they follow him or not is another story. But his name is known all around the world, so that has come to pass. And the last sign that is coming is what we're doing right now, the age of technology. The age of technology, where they can create an AI fake alien invasion, or even a fake war, and make it totally believable nowadays. All you need is a few real actors, a few commentary people, a couple of TMZs, and you can spread whatever hype you want with digital AI. He said they all sell flesh off the missing from the Passover to McDonald's. Yes. That's been going around, that McDonald's CEO. And how have people been going back into McDonald's things and saying, well, basically, funny that. I've always had a feeling that that's what they've been doing, supplementing this so-called beef for flesh, human flesh. They've been doing it on a grand scale, putting hemoglobin into the rain. And I know they're doing this because the grass and the way it smells when you cut it. Don't know whether you got it in your area, but in our area, when you used to cut grass, even with the petrol lawnmower, the grass would smell sweet and almost smell like fresh air. You would enjoy the smell of cut grass. Now it actually makes my stomach turn. It smells like rotten meat and dead flesh, and has none of that fresh, nice grass smell that it once had. The only way that can happen is if they're putting something into the environment. Every now and again you'll find a bit of jelly sitting out in your lawn. It's not frog eggs. That's hemoglobin stuck together. If you really want to collect it and go and get it tested. They're doing it all around the world. Whether it's a chemical within the jets, or there's something they're doing that we can't see. But they're doing it nonetheless. You'll find when it comes out, this cannibalism, they'll turn around and say, well, you can't blame us because you've all been eating humans as well. And then they expose all the companies that have been using human flesh. In America, you've actually got this is crazy. In America, when it comes to your meat, as long as it doesn't have more than a 1.15% human content flesh in that meat is palatable. So you're allowed to get up to a 15% human meat in American meat. You think that one. It's like in Australia. I know America's got this. This is where Australia is different to America. America's got the good thing and we got the bad thing. The bad thing is with milk. In America, you have a certain level of milk where you won't allow the blood, the pus, or the shit that gets into the milk, into it, certain level. Over in Australia, they don't even have that leveling system. So you can be getting that milk even though it's homogenized and being put through a process. How do you know it's not full of cyst, fucking pus, fucking shit, and blood? Because a lot of that comes out of the cows as well, America and Canada have got a good policy for their milk. But then again, to keep milk at a certain price, there's enough milk to always have those shelves full. They'll go to the farmer and say, we need you to tip out 60,000 litres of milk onto your fields. Because we don't need it. We need to keep the prices up. And a Canadian milk farmer, he exposed that. He said, I got all this milk, and then, why couldn't we send it off to the starving countries? No. We got to keep the price high. There you go. Yes, McDonald's. I've heard that every day about McDonald's. Like really too. Yes, well, McDonald's. They feed how many people around the world? 1.3 billion meals every day. Over 400 or 500 million people eat at McDonald's every day. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. They'll sell those little small chips for $3.95 over here, maybe even more, $4.95. They're very greedy in Australia, right? And out of those small little chips, the potatoes they're buying from Tasmania are this big and this fat. And you could probably get 10 of those bags out of that one potato from Tasmania. Yet they're only paying those farmers about half a cent if they're lucky for that potato. So who's making all the money? Where are the most meat coming from? Well, this is the thing. They say that it's Angus beef. We use Angus beef. I didn't know there was that many Angus cows in the world, you know. The amount of beef just Australia eats alone doesn't equate to the amount of fucking, cows that we actually got of that species in the country. Now, I can understand on a whole basis, we've got enough meat to sustain this country. We really do. But we don't get the meat. Most of our meat is imported from Argentina. And I haven't seen any fucking great big giant Argentinian farms of cattle. Have you? I didn't even know they had such things, but apparently they do. They're the biggest cattle farm exporters in the world. You know? Oh, top quality meat. Oh, gee. No, we're supposed to be all enemies with China and all this UHA and all this espionage and shit, which is a load of crap because we sell our top grade fucking beef straight to China. Goes straight from the Kimberley region, straight to the Chinese army. Crazy. Crazy. Hi, Queen Jag. I didn't see you come in. There she is. What's here? Jag is there. Wow, how are you going, Jag? I hope I find you well. Never seen you come into my chat before. You must be bored, girl. You must be bored indeed. No, I'm just doing my constantly rant. I'm happy that you're here. It makes it all worthwhile. That's the thing. Being your moderator, it's actually, well, I don't know how you take this, but I find it's quite fun. Because I like being the good guy. I don't mind flogging the bad guys. And that's something that I know myself, and I probably could even vouch for Auntie Lee. Something we'll never do is turn on you, girl. We will stay there to the end. I mean, we can always walk away, but we'll never turn on you. That's just the way that is. Well, I've been on for nearly an hour, trying to get my watch hours up. I got to go more lives, do more things. I think I'll get more views if I piss off out into the bush, under the beach, and I intend to get a lot more views when I'm out and about, instead of sitting here in a spare room. Well, it's a big giant spare room actually. Used to be a patio. Used to have a lot of Christmases under this patio. Now we have a lot of Christmas inside the big giant spare room. Plus it's got the best air conditioner sitting right there. So, and with this mask, well, sweating like crazy. It is autumn in Australia, but it's very humid. Very humid indeed. Well, this is the Archangel Michael. I got my drink sitting over there in my panicking. I'm on the cask wine too, my God. Crazy. The cheap stuff. But it keeps you going. And I don't drink much, just enough to, get a little bit tingly. This is early in the morning. Yeah, it is really early in the morning over there. Sunday morning. People be getting ready to go to their sermons. When they find out, well, God isn't here, and God isn't here, it doesn't matter about the rest of that stuff. That's why I know I could beat any of those so-called top priests and top synagogue guys. Hello, Kikiai. Put me in front of them, I just tell them that there. Well, if you are a man of God, why do you need that money? They can explain why they have a purse. That's like that ancient symbol that you see carved in the Sumerians over in America, all around the world, Egypt. You got that purse. They're trying to wonder, what's this special purse? What's so special about it? Well, that's exactly what it is. It's a purse, and the guy carrying it, he's the treasurer. See, the secret to man's religion is it needs to be monetized. God doesn't need money. He can just rub things together and make whatever what. But man needs money, so he has to carry a purse. And that's the secret to a religion that's been passed down through thousands and thousands of generations. The secret of the purse. That is true, and that's what Jesus argued with those Jewish men. That's why he ended up tipping up the tables. He said God doesn't need a purse. He only needs what needs to be supplied. You could be great men, but you don't need this purse. And once you start infecting someone's livelihood, no matter how they make it, people take offense to that. My father, he actually said that to me. People take offense to that, Michael. No matter whether they're a criminal or a drug lord, if you go in there and step on their toes and take away their living, people take offense to that. So you have to be careful when you do such a thing. It's like the neighbor, you've got to forgive the neighbor. It's only when a neighbor starts pissing over your fence, that's when you can kick him in the dick. It says, thou shalt not kill. That's right. Maliciously, unneedlessly, through vanity and lust. Or because you're just plain evil. But in the Bible it also says you can end up unaliving someone to defend yourself if you need to be. Simple as that. God will forgive you for such things. But he won't forgive you if you deliberately plan to go out and do it as a cruel thing, which we will always put down to vanity. Vanity. Vanity can be looked at as how you want to look as a person, how long you want to live. What do you want? It's all about your vainness. It sounds good to me. Throw on some headsets. I can't understand. Your voice is muffled. Oh, Duck Rabbit. Sorry about that. I'm trying to put on an accent. It's not my normal voice. And coming through the mask and through the mic, well, if I have it too close, it's too echoey. Gee. Well, Archangel Michael hasn't been on live for a while. I used to like going on live every night and do the Lord's Prayer, just for the sake of anyone that was listening. The Lord's Prayer is good. God has put so much time and effort into us. We can spend 30 seconds to a minute every day to put time and effort into Him. And like I said, I'm the only one that really does it. We all got our little side prayers, but I'm the one that does the Lord's Prayer. And you don't need to use the one I'm using, because there's several versions. I just like to use that because I know Jesus would have included his mother. As simple as that. It's a family. The Father, the Son, and it's not the Holy Ghost, it's the mum. When they say Holy Ghost, that's because you've got men trying to write woman out of the picture again. Families are used and made to men, women, and that's the kid. Right? That's how we understand things. And that's how it should be written in the book. But like they said, they write woman in the book like she's a terrible person, and she's not. Oh, Duck Rabbit was timed out. What did he have to say? What did he have to say? Hey? Let's have a look. I can't understand, your voice is muffled. Well, you must have got rid of him for some reason, because, I know you, I trust your judgment. We go and check their channels out and see what they've been doing, see what content they've got. More than likely, sometimes they're 14-year-olds that play Roblox. They complain about my AI. Oh, your AI is stupid. Stop doing this AI slop. Then I go and check their channel out, find they're out on about 16, 17, And they've got AI that they've been trying to do, but it's just nowhere near as good as mine, so they're jealous. People will be hateful at you for no reason. People will be hateful at you because they're jealous. It's like I truly believe, I still do believe this. It's not all just hate that Maggie and Justy have for Jag. It's not just hate because of what happened. I kind of reckon they've got a thing for Odell. Every time Odell used to go into Maggie's chat, she was always putting makeup on, adjusting herself, getting her boobs off, you know. And Justy, well, when I go into there, she's always thinking, oh, I'm getting all these Odell vibes. Like she's getting vibes from him, man. You know what I'm saying? Bouncing up and down on her dude, oboe. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't put it past that one. I've done that a few times. Sick person. But she reckons that she's the high priestess and she doesn't do hex. Well, apparently she does, because she pretty much put a hex on all of us going to be unalive before the end of the year. That sounds like witchery to me. But to get that, you get that. I don't have to bother about those two women at all, because I know they won't come and bother me, because they're frightened. They're frightened. They had someone here that would have supported them through and through. Now they've done this. Oh, Maggie, that was, well. And Justy, she got kicked out because Jag found her out. We're talking shit. She actually already predicted that Nick Mountain Goat was to be unalive by Christmas last year. But she's still with us, going strong. And that's why I liked it. I just said I didn't have to mention her, because now she must have realized. She's not come in my chat. And Nick, fuck Nick, she reckoned. Fuck. Oh, yeah. That wasn't even my intention. And she says, oh, Jag must have sent him here. And she's got the fucking clowns in the chat there saying, oh, yeah, Jag must have sent him here. Jag never sent me to fucking do anything to that guy. Anything to Justy. If anything, Jag has told us to leave them alone. It's just that I was the only one out of the family that could go into Justy's chat without her dicting them out. And I actually did that for Nick, if I did it for anybody. Nick asked me to. I remember it was a promise during the her New Year's Live. Yes, that big episode, long live that she had. Gee, we had a lot of fun. That's what it should be about. It's always doom and gloom. Sometimes we need to have a bit of fun. It's like I tried to have a Spartan game, a Spartan quiz night, and just answer true or false questions. No one would have been judged. It could have been fun. We could have learnt together. But it went tits up because everyone wants the fucking hype. Everyone wants the fanfare. You know, if you put your mind to that all the time, you're going to go crazy as them, and you'll get suckered in. And that's how they bind you. I can't do that all the time, In a sense, I'm going to say, yes, I'd like to. But I also know if I sat on this 24/7 all the time, I'd be bound to it. And I won't get anything else done. I want to do a lot more online, but I've also got other things I need to do in the flesh. You got your grandbabies this weekend. 9-year-old birthday today. Oh, okay. 9. What a good time in the world that was for me. 9 years of age, turning on 10. Used to be a blast back then. Nowadays, well, they're locked in the room on those bloody video games. Crazy. I hope he has a good birthday then, Kiki Eyes. Hope he has a very good birthday. Well, I'm getting a bit dry. I'll try to stay out the hour and see how we go. That way I at least got the hour up and can add that to me bloody watch hours. I thought I'd have a lot more watch hours. Obviously YouTube just likes to play with me. I've only got like 600 flat watch hours. I need 2,400 more before they monetize me. I can't work out that because I've been alive as many as others. I suppose I just don't get the watching, you know. Get trolls that flick in and flick out. I don't get a bloody watch for it. But that's crazy. That's what you get in a big mix. I would like to be monetized. Yes, I would. Like everyone else. Everyone likes to get money. Make it worthwhile. But it is worthwhile nonetheless. And it's not always about money. It's about the message. About SPARTA, how SPARTA is a shield. And it can be used as a platform to advertise other people that are members of SPARTA, like Nick, like Odell, like Lauren, and like Jaguar herself. You know, I find I'm a better advertisement platform than actually becoming monetized. It's funny that. I could have signed up with some of these ad groups and made probably about $700 a week, but I don't know whether it was like those type of ads. So I'm refraining from that. Find out a bit more about what people like before I employ any of them. But yes, I've had them approach me quite often. Ask me to do ads for them. Oh, you do ad for me 3 times a week, 2-minute ads long, and I'll pay you $500 a week. Sounds pretty good. A lot of people do it, but that's what's not. It's not about that. If I start doing that, you think I'm just no different than any other preacher or bloody person from the church with the fucking hand out all the time. No, when it happens, when I become monetized, I become monetized. And anything people want to give, well, it's whatever they want to give. I'm not going to sit there and ask it to make it rain. Make it wane, make it wane. Fuck that. You know, that's not me. I can't do that. That's not the way Archangel Michael is supposed to be. Archangel Michael does a task. He likes to be rewarded. He really does. But he will not ask for his reward. He might say what he may need, and it's up to the giver to give it. I cannot truly ask for it, like in a begging sort of way. That's not how it works. You know? And if people can only give a little bit, well, that will be enough. Even if only a little, if it's given with a generous heart, it is enough. And every time that you help pave someone else's way, you're paving your own way to God. And that's a fact. And that's a fact. As you can see, I've got my wings on. They're not too big yet. They've got to grow. But they will. Oh, soon I'm going to have the full armor and everything. You wait and see if I don't. You wait and see if I don't. But that's another thing. Not ready yet. Things I am going to bring to the table, once I bring them to the table, all this hype, all this Epstein list, all these wars, well, you tell me, are you going to worry about getting up every morning to watch them and see what's happening with them? Or would you rather learn about dragons? Because the moment I bring one of them onto the picture, it's going to make everyone else's fight that much harder. So timing is of the crucial. I'm going to do it. Don't you worry. That's going to happen. Be thankful that you know me, because it's going to happen, and it's going to be a real, true thing. But timing is essence. If I bring a dragon to the table, you think anyone's going to give a fuck about Epstein list? Dragon. Think about that. You think about that. And when it comes to monetization, well, all of my content, which is more than 2,300 videos, they're going to go fucking... The moment I bring that to the scene, they'll go viral all on their own. And God pays, yes, well. But see, that's the thing. Timing is of the crucial. Timing is crucial. If I bring it out too early, none of these other buggers are going to get caught. You know? We'll see. We will see. But yes, I'm definitely going to bring that to the table. That's what I'm bringing to the table. I don't care what anyone says. The government know it, and I'm going to do it. about there are too many distractions. Well, that's what I'm saying. I can't bring another one. I mean, that's going to be the distraction of all distractions. The reason why that's going to happen is because when men of God took over the Word of God, they started going around the earth, like you may have seen in the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Spanish, and that destroyed that fountain of youth. Right? Well, they did do such things. They went around hiding all the artifacts and magics from all the other cultures in the world, bringing back to a secular God, taking out the mystery, dumbing down the world, so then they could then be the narrative over you. Do you understand? Without mystery in the world, well, it's a pretty dull world, and you're susceptible to whatever they tell you. If you come to us, we've got these angels, look at our statues, look at the gold. Oh, the Christ. You know, they sucker you in that way, through imagery, which they tell you in the Bible not to follow, but that's how they sucker you in anyway. Strange, that. They use every bit that they're told not to bring you to the Word of God. And ask you to all that money. Like I said, if those churches are really men of God, take away all the money and see where they are then. They'll be standing right next to me, waiting for Jesus to come as a man of God. But they're men of men. The purse, church needs a purse. That's the secret of men's religion. That's the secret of that purse carved all around the world in ancient stone. The secret of man's religion is it needs to be monetized. God doesn't need money, guys. He never has. Only man needs money. And man can be said to be the root of all evil. Well, it's not the root of all evil, but it sure as hell can make you fucking go that way. Well, pizza's been ruined for me totally. This is the Archangel Michael signing off for now. You guys. Thank you, family.